Welcome back to Turning the Page. We're again here with Joy Bossi and Karen Bastow and Katie Nelson talking about their book, Joy in the Garden. Ladies, the book is sold out?
It's a wonderful thought, but yeah, pretty doggone. The publisher, Cedar Fort, out of Springville, is gone. There are no books at their shelves. There are some stores around up and down the Wasatch Front that may have some left on the shelf, but they have gone very, very fast. It's been very gratifying to us.
We're amazed.
Amazing, I guess, is much better term. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So it's obviously something that people found a need for.
They seem to enjoy it.
That's
they really
wonderful.
do, Donnie. That's what we're finding out, is that we must have done it pretty close to right.
Yep. Well, we're going to have you guys, both of you, in the store, Confetti Antiques and Books, 273 North Main, April 30th, to sign copies of the book.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we still have some. We'll hold some back just for that, just so we have some. But we wanted to bring Katie into this. Katie, your husband gave this to you as a Christmas or a birthday gift, right?
Birthday gift, that's right.
And what exactly did you find about it that you liked?
Well, I started reading. I love gardening, so I just dove right into it. And Joy said they did something close to right. As far as I can see, they did everything right. It's really enjoyable to read. It's well written, and so it's an enjoyable read. It also covers what you need to take care of your yard. Most of your questions can be answered in this book, so it's an excellent reference. And then probably my favorite part about it is that it's broken down by the seasons.
I saw that, and you can see that here on the side by it's color-coded, the sides, and something that I wouldn't have thought is the fall is like one of the largest sections of the book. I mean, that's typically gardening is over by then, but tell us, why is that such a big part of the book?
That's one of the most critical times to get ready to garden. If you're doing raised bed gardening, build boxes, be ready in the fall, so that when spring comes, you don't have to wait for all the snow to melt, you don't have to wait for everything, you're ready to go just as soon as you possibly can.
And along the Wasatch Front, the first thing any gardener has to grow is the soil. We have top dirt, we don't have top soil, and so you have to understand the living part of the soil, and that begins in the fall.
I see. Another thing that I found very interesting is typically when you think about the garden, you think about vegetables, fruit a little bit, but mostly vegetables. But there's a large portion of the book devoted to parts of the garden that the average person wouldn't consider garden. The lawn, for example.
The trees.
The trees, yeah.
We consider the garden any outside spot that you live in, and rather than calling it a yard, we believe this is a garden. And so the lawn is part of the garden, and the trees and the shrubs and the ground cover, and pruning the trees and taking care of the fruit trees as well, and the vegetable garden and the herb garden, and we believe they all live together. We don't need segregation in the garden, we need integration in the garden.
I would agree with that, and I think that's part of the book that I really like. And I really love the oversized color illustrations. You know, it's a wonderfully laid out book, wonderfully written book, and it's just full of so much needed information.
We appreciate that, and we do want to give kudos to our designer at Cedar Fort. She did the most marvelous job. We're both very pleased with that. And we like the feedback we're getting, because we did hope that we would hit it on the head so that people could just read it. We've had people who've said, you know, it's easy to read. Yes, it is. It's meant to sound like a conversation with Joy on the radio, is what it's meant to do. And I think they've done a good job coming up with that.
Joy on the radio. Tell us more about that.
Well, for almost 16 years now, I've had a radio program on Saturday mornings. It is right now from 9 to 11. It's on KNRS, which is 105.7 FM. Saturday mornings has been my life for that many years, and I have a fun time with it. When I go out of town, I've taken the show on the road. I've broadcast from Washington, D.C. in Sam Donaldson's office, I might mention. We've gone to Hawaii. We are going to Pittsburgh again this next year, Durango, Colorado, and wherever I go, we use a radio station there. And I broadcast as though I were back home. And if I would just be quiet about where we were, people would think I was right here. So the radio program has been a wonderful opportunity for me to share what I believe to be the best possible therapy, and that's getting out in the garden. And I consider myself a gardening cheerleader. And I think you can do it. You can do it. And Karen and I have put together
Absolutely.
the kinds of things that you need, that we believe that you can have wonderful success in the garden.
So it's almost like a handbook. If you follow through, you start in the season you're on, you can almost follow through almost like a handbook.
I really think so, and it is all organic. We figured that we'll leave the chemical warfare up to others, and we just go with everything organic in here. We know people can find that other information in a myriad of books, so we didn't even want to go there with this.
Well, give us some more. What do you mean by organic?
That is when you say it with a little O, that's just about anything you want it to mean. If it started out alive, it's dead and we use it, it's organic. But what we are specifically meaning is we're staying away from the artificial chemical pesticides, which means the weed killers and the bug killers, and the fertilizer. Again, because we want that soil to be alive.
Now, this is something Katie brought up to me, that here in Spanish Fork, it's against the law to use a weed burner. You recommend a weed burner. Why is a weed burner such a much better way of getting rid of weeds than Roundup?
But you have to notice where we're using the
I know.
in little cracks, not along the whole ditch bank. If you hit any little tiny annual weed with heat, whether it's fire or boiling water, which is what I use. I'm out with my tea kettle out there along the cracks in the sidewalk. You burn off the top, annual weeds won't come back. Now, whether it's fire or hot water, bindweed and dandelions, they aren't going to be phased by that. So this is just one more little piece, little arsenal of being able to go out and get rid of weeds. I mean, hands and knees and fingertips are good, but some folks want a little bit more power, a little bit more satisfaction in getting them.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and I think that's what, by organic, you mean kind of, it's the whole package. You're trying to do it as if you're on your own, doing it yourself without corporate America coming in and giving you...
Yeah, they have their fingers in the pie, but they meaning Ortho and Monsanto and some of the big companies, now have an organic line, because those of us who have been talking organic, they're starting to listen, and they figured out that, you know what, there's a segment of the people here that really believe in that. We want it to be safe. We want it to be safe if you're going to have a baby, if you have a baby crawling around on the lawn, if you have your pet that runs through the grass. And it's been shown that many of those chemicals are simply not safe for us.
Donnie, can I mention?
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the book is in the index. There's a section on organic gardening that talks about organic weed control and organic pest control. And I found it to be an excellent reference that there are a couple charts, and I found it to give me a lot of ideas about what I could do to reduce my use of chemicals.
Well, great. So ladies, is there anything you'd like to add in closing?
One of the fun things in our book is the use of what we call joyisms. Now, when Joy speaks or is on the radio, she has a very unique way of putting words together. For example, squinching. Now, what do you suppose squinching may be? Any guesses? It's a tightening of the facial muscles in a grimace. Could you squinch for us? There you go. That is squinching.
That's squinching.
And we have incorporated some of these fun words that become very descriptive in gardening. And we have a whole section on joyisms in the book. You'll have to come back sometime and find out what thwapped is.
Oh, well, that's exciting. So those joyisms are just written into the vernacular of the book.
They are.
And you'll come to it, and the only way you're going to know what it really means is to flip back to the glossary at the back.
There
and
you
say,
go.
And we can guarantee they'll make you smile.
well, that's wonderful. We want to invite the public down. We're going to have Joy and Karen at Confetti Antiques and Books, April 30th from noon to 2, to sign copies of their book and to talk to the public about any questions you might have about gardening. Come on down and meet them. Ladies, thanks again for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Katie, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.